So it said it found 10% of those surveyed said that the use of force is justified to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president. 10% of people said that.
That is not good. I guess I wish I were more surprised, but given the fact that January 6th was a thing.
But that's to stop him from being president.
Stop Biden, yeah. But
10%.
I'm just saying that that was still a use of force to.
No. Hold on. Different. Like the poll is different than that. 10% said they would use force to stop Trump from becoming president.
Oh, to stop him. Oh, got it. Okay. That's also
that's more. That's actually more than the 7% that said they'd use force to put him back into the president. Like that's actually significant. Like most people look at the left and they think, they're not going to do anything, which is neither here nor there. But still, 3% more say that they would use it to stop him.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. That is a fascinating figure that I guess I can see why it's still it's fucking alarming. So you've got 7% of people saying that they would use force to make sure that Trump becomes the president, and then 10% saying that they would use force to prevent him from. Got it. Okay. That's horrifying.
Yeah. And 8% of respondents to the study said they believed there would be a situation in the next few years where political violence would be justified and they were intending to arm themselves.
Oh, jeez. I mean, look, it's not unheard of in our country's history. And we've talked about John Brown on a number of occasions. I'm just recording. We can decide when we want to start whenever, or we can put this in. I don't care.
Let's roll.
I'll do a intro here in a minute. But so, I mean, the political violence thing is a weirdly complex question, because in the situation like that John Brown, for example, encountered, that is arguably one of the reasons that the Civil War even happened, and that ultimately led to the slaves, black people being freed from slavery. However, it's so context dependent, and in that situation, it was I don't know. I just don't think that you can compare the historical aspects of that. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty much a proponent of 99.9% of the time, violence is never the answer. I think in very rare occasions, it does call for it, but never in any modern context that I've seen.
Oh yeah, nothing that I have seen while I've been alive.
And that's kind of what is terrifying about all of this. So, welcome back, folks. What a wonderful occasion we greet you all with. My name's Chuck Corum, joined as always by Big John Eisner. We're at Podlatcha. We've got a great show for you today, legitimately. But first we have to talk about the news of the day, because how can we not? We were just having a discussion about the attempted assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which is, contrary to some really wild-ass people on the internet, not a good thing. I think that I'm basically what I'm going to do here in a second is just read some of the responses from elected officials that have been particularly disgusting and stupid. But I think, in general, this is just not a good thing, obviously. And I want your thoughts on this, because I've thought a lot about it. First of all, I was genuinely alarmed with myself for how not alarmed I was when I got the news, because this, and I believe in both of our lifetimes, the first time there's ever been I don't know if you'd call it a credible assassination attempt, but
Bush got a shoe.
That was pretty wild.
Yeah, it was wild, dude.
I mean, I hated George Bush, but hell of a juke, or whatever you want to call it, to get out of the way, man.
He really did. He really did have some movement in those old legs.
He did. He really did. Swift neck movement too. But I think credible, or this is the up close and personal assassination.
Actual attempt,
right?
An actual attempt,
right?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of them that have been foiled, by the FBI and stuff. But the actual attempt on a president's life, I'm pretty sure in our lifetimes, and probably most people's.
I think it is. I mean,
I think
Yeah.
we just.
I think the closest thing was, remember anthrax?
Oh God, yeah,
Like,
that's true.
people were putting that shit in the mail and stuff.
Tom Daschle, baby.
I guess there could have been something like that we don't know about because,
Right.
Again, the FBI intercepted it. But it's the first one that's getting the news coverage where we have it on video where this happened.
Yeah, it's terrifying too. Like, I mean, did you see the still image from the New York Times of the bullet?
Yeah, I
Jesus.
saw that, and then I saw the report where, is it 2 people are dead?
I believe it's
and
one.
somebody is in critical.
Yes, I think it was one victim and then the shooter, but I could be wrong. And again, all of this stuff is a developing situation, so please take this with not necessarily a grain of salt, because we're all relying on accurate reporting at the time, but just a note. But yeah,
everything can all updates can change anything. I mean, that's the thing to remember, is like, we're doing this as we're being fed information.
Exactly.
That information could drastically change.
And one rule that I think we have when we talk about this, just at the outset, is like, we're not going to be making any broad speculations here. We're giving reactions to this and what we feel are very, very bad moves by politicians. But I think it's really irresponsible to like make accusations and speculations about like the intent behind the shooter or what have you. I'm not into that right now, and I think it's very irresponsible, so I'm not going to do it. But
it's not impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know any. I mean, there's just no information. Like the little that we know, honestly, the more that we've found out about this I don't know, alleged assassin, has actually made it more complex in terms of trying to figure out motive. So
we always say life is complex on
like,
this show. So
yeah, like that's definitely been like that on this in this. Well, I think let's start. Do you want to start with talking about the politicians first, or do you want to start about reactions first?
Well, the politicians are like, it is their reactions in some respects, so I think it's kind of mingled in there. But basically,
let's do it.
One of the things I really wanted to focus on here is just like an example of what not to do when you're a fucking elected leader. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, this goes down to just pure sycophancy and self-motivated interests. Okay, so you have 2 people in general that I pulled out that are both in contention for the vice presidential nod from Donald Trump, Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance, which is very unfortunate. And he's showing that he's pledging fealty to this guy. Mind you, J.D. Vance is the same guy who, if you want to talk about inflamed rhetoric, J.D. Vance is the same guy who referred to Donald Trump as America's Hitler and compared him to an opioid pill because he was an easy escape from the pain.
Jesus Christ. That's where we are, man. Like, and that's the problem in politics. People who do not have a backbone on their stances because they know that it'll cost them an election are allowed to pick and choose new rhetoric when, I mean, we used to hold leaders accountable, and now we don't. We just don't anymore. Everybody flip-flopped on
hardly
him.
Can't. We
I mean,
hardly can.
Like, if we held every single... I think I can stand by this. If we held every single person to their belief in Donald Trump when he first got on the stage as a participant in his first debate, we would have no MAGA. It would not exist.
Because J.D. Vance would still think he was America's Hitler, and Marco Rubio would still be making fun of his dick size, because that's what he did on the 2016 campaign.
I remember, and that's the thing, like, and now they jump to this, and everything's swept under the rug. And in all honesty, like, I can't, this is going to sound terrible, but, like, I can't blame J.D. Vance. Like, this will be the first time I ever say this, but he is a freshman senator who is being looked at as the number 2. Like, he's going to say these things. Like, that's, if he's legitimately in the conversation, this is expected.
I mean, you can blame him, but you see his craven, fucked up rationale.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like, we know why he's doing what he's doing, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
Like,
he's
this is
an
not
idiot.
it's not out of the ordinary.
Yeah, J.D. Vance, to be clear, he's an idiot, but he's not stupid. He knows what he's doing. He's blown as many dog whistles as humanly possible to try and get the VP nod. And it's at the expense of every Ohioan that he supposedly represents, and honestly, at this point, the country, because this is such an irresponsible thing to say, especially because at that time, we knew nothing about the shooter. We barely know anything now, but at that time, that was at like 8:22 p.m., there was nothing confirmed to my knowledge.
That's probably true. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the timestamps on everything. Yeah, with him, I mean, I don't know. He's one of those guys who is going to always put himself first. He always has. Yep. He always will. I mean, he wrote an entire book about how he's the hardest working person in the region when he's not even ever here or really from here. But anyway.
He was telling on people for their long bathroom breaks. That was the preface of the book.
That was the first thing you read, was him being a narc about somebody being in the bathroom too long.
He probably just had to take a monster shit.
Or, like, here, see, that's the thing. What year was
Not that it matters.
What year did Hillbilly Elegy come out?
I believe it came out early 2016, I think.
All right, I will applaud J.D. Vance on one thing. From 2016 to 20. Sound. Yep, from 2016 to 2014, he is always worried about who goes into what bathroom. So I will say that he is always
there it is.
There. You know, he's always focused there.
Got him.
So, got him.
Other politicians, I will point out, Mike Collins from Georgia, Republican congressman from Georgia, just said Biden sent the orders, and it was a quote tweet on something. It was him implying that Biden ordered a hit on Trump.
Oh my gosh.
Which is so fucking dumb, irresponsible, stupid, not surprising coming from a backbencher congressman that's a Republican in the House nowadays, but just incredibly fucked up. Got to spread the partisan love around here. State Representative Antonio Parkinson, he's a Democrat in Tennessee, and this is something that was really catching fire on the left, was implying that it was staged. He said, quote, "I certainly hope this is not a staged act, but ...
Who
eyes
said
up,
this?
rolling emoji. State Representative Antonio Parkinson from Tennessee.
Democrat.
State rep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, it's unfair, and that I'm glad that you're doing this, because that's what I was like thinking about earlier. It's unfair just to rag on the conservatives about like what they're saying, because the left has done equal. I don't know if I can say equally, but the same measures just on the other side.
Yeah, I don't think it's been equal, but I think that like
no, I didn't mean like in terms of numbers, but in terms of stupidity, like it's pretty high on both sides.
I mean, they've definitely dialed it up. And look, like I get it. The video is super weird. It looked very strange. The reaction of the crowd was incredibly strange, but it was not a stage shooting. In fact, I posted an article today of somebody breaking the whole thing down and basically talking about why this is not a conspiracy theory that you should be going down the rabbit hole of, but it's not. It happened, and we can move past that.
I mean, what's the argument there? Like he's blading like Hulk Hogan, like back in the.
That's what someone had said. Like they were like, "Oh, is he pulling one of those WWE things where they cut themselves, right?" Because like that's what they would do.
Yeah, they would. What they would do is, like a box cutter razor.
Yeah.
Like how it's so small, they would hide that in their shorts. And when they got hit with a chair and went down, it would be there. Or like John Cena was very good at blading. They stopped doing it during his time period, but he would hide it in the wristband that he had on. And so he'd get hit with, he'd get hit with a chair. He'd pull it out, cut himself, across the top, and that'd be it. He's just blood gushing everywhere.
Showman, man, what a showman!
I could tell you, I've seen hundreds of people blade. He wasn't blade. That's not a blade. Like that's you would be able to tell, because it would be like where he was bleeding from. It would have been all over, just everywhere across his face. It just he got nicked. I think that's he just got nicked.
You sound like somebody from the movie Brink. Bro can't blade.
Dude, he can't blade.
No,
He can't blade.
there's so much. I mean, it's just so absurd. But yeah,
It's nuts, dude.
that was one of the
Of course
one
it
of the
was.
things
I,
going
and
around.
I literally just thought of that. I didn't even like see that. I just figured somebody had to have talked about that.
Staying in Tennessee here, the Tennessee House GOP leader William Lamberth, who I think looks like a hedgehog, Republican, tweeted, "There is no way," and this is also early in. Or soon after the shooting occurred, there is no way some idiot liberal with a gun will stop Donald Trump. Our prayers are with you, Mr. President. Again, presuming that this was some deranged liberal without knowing anything, just because they needed to get the statement out there so that they would look good in front of their constituents, I guess, their gerrymandered district, their dear leader, so it looked like he was pulling the party line. I don't know. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, this whole situation, there was just a bunch of stupidity. Like, I hate to sound like I'm the guy in the middle, but I honestly feel like I'm the guy in the middle in this topic because, one, it's an uncomfortable topic. Like, it really is. It was an assassination attempt on a person who we may not agree politically with, but
We don't hold in high regard
don't
whatsoever.
can't go. Yeah, that can't do that. His reaction afterwards, when he gets up and he has like the guys around him and he's pumping his fist, brilliant. I mean, it really, like, that is, he is an actor through and through. That was brilliant.
I mean, I do have some thoughts on the whole electoral thing. I have two more people to go through first.
Let's do it.
First one, real quick, Representative Tim Burchett from Knoxville, Appalachian, in
We
Congress.
talked about him before.
Oh
right?
yeah, he's a platinum grade.
Is he the guy?
dumbass.
Is he the guy who has like he's really into Bigfoot?
Yeah, and like in that respect, it's kind of cool. But
That's pretty
he's
cool,
a
yeah.
dumbass in most other things. This one, he blamed it on a DEI person in the Secret Service.
Oh,
Yeah, he said that the woman that was on the Secret Service team was probably a DEI hire.
Same thing. How the hell did he get on top of that roof? If you look at the pictures, he didn't go through the top of the roof. There had to be a ladder or something. Somebody really dropped the ball. You've got a DEI, basically a person, a DEI initiative person who heads up our Secret Service. She was working at Pepsi before this. I know she was a former Secret Service agent, but still, this is what happens when you don't put the best players in.
Okay.
yeah. And people were talking about the person who leads the Secret Service now, who's like the head of it, and like they used to work at Cheetos or something.
At what?
Did you see that?
Like
I think
Frito
Elon
Lay
Musk-
or what?
Yeah, I think Elon Musk posted it.
He's a fucking okay. First of all, Elon Musk also posted that like it was staged. So I mean,
No, I just thought it was funny how they compared her.
oh Jesus
Let me see
fucking
if
Christ!
it's Elon Musk replied to her breakdown, because it says 27th Director of the U.S. Secret Service, sworn in 2022. She is responsible for successfully executing blah, blah, blah. Prior to her appointment, she served as Senior Director in Global Security at PepsiCo, where she was responsible for directing and implementing security protocols for the company's facilities in Northern America. And that's where he said, so before being in charge of protecting the president, she was guarding bags of Cheetos.
Jesus fucking
So
Christ.
that's where that comes from.
What a
Okay.
fucking
And
idiot.
that part is, I will say, what I just read, it looks like it is actually from the website of the Secret Service. Like,
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It is. He's just such a fucking idiot.
it was just so weird. Like, I didn't even.
He is.
Yeah.
God, he is such a.
But you can't even pretend like
fucking moron.
like that. PepsiCo is a huge company. I mean, taking care of that many facilities, security, that's actually impressive.
I'm not gonna pretend like I know a goddamn thing about
Yeah,
this secret
like,
fucking
I don't know
service.
anything about this. Also, like, isn't it? And I don't know if this is the case either, because I really don't know. But I know that once the president leaves office, they still have Secret Service
for their life,
obviously.
I think.
But my question becomes: is it the same guys throughout the years until they leave?
No,
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure
They're
out.
rotated. I do know that for the most part. I do know that because actually, when I worked in Nashville, we had an office suite that was right next to the Secret Service office suite because they had a field office there, and so they would. I believe it's also the same for after they exit the presidency because they rotate whatever like duty time frames, because sometimes some of them will be like in Israel or in DC, and other times
they could be like, they could one day be guarding Biden and then the next be guarding Obama.
I don't know if it's necessarily that, because what Secret Service do when they're not like doing security detail is they investigate like financial crime and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I knew that they had a side gig. That's what they got a side hustle.
But I think it depends on the person and like what their affiliated rank is within the service, because some of the ones that are more senior get, I think, more like quote unquote easier jobs. I don't really know how it works. That's just what I heard from
but
conversations from them that I had in the bathroom.
I always got to give the Secret Service props, because they are legit. Like I would run.
Yeah, they're
I'd be like, you're on your own, pal.
Yeah,
you're on your own.
And like, I don't know about the response. I don't know how to critique it. I'm not going to.
I don't care enough to like that's not my job. You know what I mean? Like they've been doing this for a long time. This is not a new gig. And guess what? The former president lived, so like it kind of worked.
Well,
they protected him in that.
There was
sense,
also some reporting that a local police officer had seen the gunman, and they pointed the gun at him, and the police officer retreated, and then they shot. So that, I don't know if that's been confirmed. I believe it was reported in a number of reputable outlets. I'll double check.
I had heard
but
somebody tried to tell someone
that was also true. They had a guy on.
It was true.
Well, they had a guy that they had interviewed on. I don't know if it's true or not. They interviewed a guy on BBC that was like from, I guess, like an adjacent area.
Okay.
He was not inside the stadium, because neither was the shooter. The shooter was on a rooftop, and they saw the shooter get up on the rooftop.
Also, can we just talk about the setup there for 1 second? That was a terrible location. Like that, I mean, in terms of, I don't know, I would expect in a spot like that, I would assume, and if it was maybe President Biden, like this would be the case, but I would assume there would have been like a sniper or something somewhere.
I think they are getting criticized for that. I do think that that's been one of the criticisms levied against the Secret Service, and I know that they've opened an investigation into it. Like whoever does that, the ombudsman or whatever the fuck in the government does, and I'm guessing that some heads are probably going to roll just to show that they did something, because this is pretty high profile.
That did
flub.
seem weird. Like I figured if they're having a real live event with that many people, that there'd be an eye in the sky essentially.
Yeah, and I mean, for all intents and purposes, he's the Republican nominee, so he should probably be receiving enhanced security even with that. But
I mean, that and a former president. It's not like he's, you know what I mean? Like he's he's a former president.
Yeah.
You would think he'd have all the bells and whistles.
You would think, and I know that's part of the investigation that's happening right now, and I imagine we'll know more in the coming days with what happened there. But yeah, it was pretty wild.
Remember the movie President's Daughter?
My Date with the President's Daughter? Yeah, Will Friedle.
Look at the Secret Service in that. Like she had to do everything to get away.
I know. I mean, where was that level of protection?
Where were those guys? I want to know what was their schedule. Where were they? Were they the ones that were over investigating some fraud? Because maybe they should be the guys on the ground.
Maybe it was Western Pennsylvania. Maybe they were investigating some Altoona pizza.
Also, people are going to ask, like, why are we even covering this? This technically happened in Appalachia, right? Like, I was looking at the map.
Yeah, I mean, we would cover it regardless.
Yeah, I know, but it's even more relevant because it's in the, like, it actually
Butler County.
did happen in the region by somebody from the region. Like, that's not something, like, to take props for, but I'm saying it
we do not condone any political violence, any violence.
No violence.
Nothing.
Golly,
shut the fuck up.
Stop
man.
that. You can have your thoughts. You don't have to do that. That's awful, man.
I know. The last thing I want to point out is the Biden campaign allegedly put out something that was pretty fucking dumb too.
Okay.
So take this for what it's worth. It's an anonymous campaign official. So take that what you will. No. It's not coming from Biden himself or a named source, but what this is reported by Reuters. So Reuters is a very reputable outlet.
Yeah, they're legit.
Yeah. Quote, and this is from a White House official that said this on the condition of anonymity. This is about their strategy. Rather than verbally attacking Trump in the coming days, the White House and the Biden campaign will draw on the president's history of condemning all sorts of political violence, including his sharp criticism of the disorder created by campus protests over the Israel-Gaza conflict, campaign officials said on condition of anonymity. Are you fucking kidding me? Why? They're comparing this to the campus quote-unquote disorder? This was an assassination attempt on a former fucking president. How badly do they fucking hate these students and Palestinians that they're going to make that comparison? Fuck them, man. This is some horse shit.
First off, that's ridiculous. Like, why are we getting to that point? Like, that's not even close. Secondly, can we just go to 2 hours ago what the president posted on Twitter? Because
what did he say?
It starts really, really great. Okay, let me say that. Let me say that.
Like every Biden speech.
First paragraph. There's two paragraphs. Well, a paragraph and one sentence. Jill and I extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victim who was killed at Donald Trump's rally. He was a father protecting his family from the bullets being fired. That part's great, right? Here's the next one, and this makes me look at the president as, I hate to say it, but petty. We are also praying for the full recovery of those who were injured. No name, like doesn't mention the name. I mean, like,
what the fuck are we doing here? Do we want to win this election? Are they just giving up? Are they just giving up?
He literally just says of those who were injured. We know who was injured. Remember, think about every president that has gone through something awful, okay, in terms of what they have to react to.
Yeah, Obama did wear that tan suit, so.
Okay, I'm talking about bad, like terrible things that have happened.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like Bush talking about like when obviously like 9/11 happens, or when Obama starts talking about the kids that get killed through gun violence, like
Sandy
Hook especially, like that's the one where he tears up and like the president like feels like a real human being, like just like that Bush did. There are times that I think every president's time in office, or most of them, where they just have to be a human, and I don't know if Biden can do that. And tonight is the only way he could show it, is if he's just a normal guy being like, this has to stop.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to
no politics. It cannot be politics.
What he does. Yeah, I will be interested to see how he reacts, because it's a weird situation and it's kind of unprecedented. So,
but that's the only way he saves it. Like,
yeah.
Like in the sense of, and I want to say, like, I'm not comparing this to those two events. That should be clear. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just in the sense of how the reaction was very human. Like, you could feel that person's reaction. You have to be able to feel that here. The problem is Joe Biden is not, he's not Barack Obama. Like, he's not, right now he's not even George Bush, which is crazy to say, but in terms of delivering. So he's going to have to pull something out here, because this is his window to show he's not just another guy.
Yeah, I hope for the sake of this country and just because he's currently the nominee, I hope that he's able to communicate properly. I don't have a lot of faith in his ability to do so, but I hope for his sake and our sake and, the country's sake that he does. I also still think that he should be replaced on the ticket, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. So whatever.
It's not going to happen.
I agree. I think that he's got to do something like that for sure. Because this is another test. He's going to be tested like this the rest of the time he's in office. So,
but it goes back
and this especially. This is a weird line you have to tread.
It goes back to when Biden has been successful talking. Go back to the first couple of debates with Biden and Trump. Like, first election. So in 2020, remember when Trump starts talking about Hunter and he looks at Trump and you feel like it was just a dad trying to protect his son, like towards Trump. That's when people were like, this is the guy, like this is a guy who actually will stand up for things like that he believes or people that he believes in. We have lost that Joe Biden in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
He does not exist right now. The one that exists is the one who argues about golf handicap.
Yeah. I'll tell you who did have a good statement was Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania.
Okay, what do you say?
He struck I don't have the full thing in front of me. I just listened to it earlier. He struck the right tone. He made it about the victim, too, and about their family. And
why not name him?
They did. He did.
No, Biden. Like, I was wondering if you had any thoughts on that.
I have no idea. I don't know why you would do that. Yeah. I think it's a very human thing to do, and it doesn't matter if they're a Trump supporter or not. They were at this rally. They were an innocent person that was killed. Like their politics does not matter. They were in this moment they're just an American citizen. Look, and I'm glad this is brought up because like they're like I think it's important because there's a lot of people listening, including myself, that have family members who are Donald Trump supporters, family members that go to these rallies.
Same.
Like my in-laws go to them. They're very into them. And like
my brother's
this
a staunch supporter. He loves Donald Trump.
And like there is like that person could have easily been one of our family members. Might even be one of our listeners' family members. Very possible. So like I think we have to think about the fact that this is a human being, that they did not ask for this, that they are, and I will say they were doing one of the most American things that you can do, which is exercising your ability to express your political opinion and to assembly or whatever you want to call it, to form and assemble. And like we would have the same reaction if it were at a Biden rally or a fucking Jill Stein rally, or if someone was shot at a pro-Palestinian protest and what have you. Like the subject matter does not matter, and I think that it matters that you condemn this and that you name this, because I think that we have gotten to a level in our country. I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but I feel like we've gotten to a level in our country where like people are so like ingrained in this this edgelord bullshit that like we're losing, and am so jaded by the whole when they go low we go high, because I get that, and it's not applicable. They go fucking subterranean, and I don't know what the right response to it is, but it's not like trashing these people, and it's not shaming them, and it's not that kind of thing. Like we have to look at these people as human.
Yeah, not killing them.
Absolutely not. God. No, of course not. That's like Donald Trump is a separate entity from people at his rally, and even like that is still, you get what I'm saying.
I mean, listeners are probably gonna be pissed at this. Like, we survived 4 years of Donald Trump. Okay, the country survived. It moved on. It elected Joe Biden. If it chooses to elect Donald Trump, I believe that the country is strong enough to once again get through those 4 years. I think that we have gone to such a panic. People get so scared over political figures. But when you break down what that political figure does versus what Congress does or what the Supreme Court does, your fear is in the wrong direction. That's what happens with presidential elections, is even the guy that you're most scared of, it's at least the guy you know. The ones who are running for Congress all around the country that you don't know about, and they're going to skate in as the under, that's the scary part.
Hey, I mean, I don't know what the state of the country will be if he gets elected. I'm very concerned, and
you can be concerned,
I think that the Supreme Court and him are inextricably linked 100%, because if he gets reelected, like that court is very likely going to last, and it's same composition for the rest of our lives almost. Like, because
For
I think
sure.
Clarence Thomas will retire.
Yeah.
I think Justice Alito will retire. Sotomayor is not looking great from a health standpoint. So I think people are very correct to be very alarmed and concerned, especially with like what the agenda that him and his people want to put forth. But the response to that is not violence.
I get it. Yeah. Well, I guess my point was there's so obviously we'll lose the check on the Supreme Court, but we've already technically lost that anyway. The check on the president from the Supreme
that's
Court.
gone. I mean, they fucking
that's already
torched that,
gone.
which
So
is
like
horrible in and of itself.
I've already come to terms with that. But it's still 3 branches of government, and the law moves the most swiftly right now through Congress in terms of rapid, huge changes. Yeah, he could do an executive order, and yeah, the Supreme Court could have it stay in place, or the Supreme Court could make a ruling, but Congress is going to be the ones that's pushing 500 bills. Like that's the rapid change that I'm worried about. But this is what happens, is like we start to focus on one race, and I get it, like, but I've already come to the, I guess, realization last time that the Supreme Court was gone for our lifetime.
It's depressing. I mean, I think like there's legitimate arguments about like how do you go about changing the composition of the court. I think that's something that it should certainly be, looked into, because the court is not working right now, like not in its current form. But it's just, I think that's like, you can't rely on that, because that's a huge uphill battle to climb. And it's one that like,
are you talking about changing how we get to the Supreme Court? Like how somebody gets on the Supreme Court?
So there's discussions in left-leaning circles around a lot of things, like court packing, changing the amount of justices, changing them from no longer having lifetime terms. And so a lot of that, I truthfully don't know how much of that is like constitutional amendment versus
that's
like,
gonna be, yeah.
Because I know that there was a time where like they've changed the amount of justices on the court. I think it was under FDR or someone maybe. So it's like possible that you can do it, but in this political environment, I don't know. It's wild, but I think that those are goals that are good to strive for, but we can't rely on them, because it's just like we have to deal with the here and now. And right now, there are only a few bulwarks left to block things that will permanently destroy the institutions of this country. And I don't know what that's going to look like with Donald Trump, because he will reform the entire executive branch. People who get elected to Congress, if the Republican will win both chambers, they will pledge fealty to him. They will not be a check on him. They will be a rubber stamp. And then the judiciary will effectively be that, because it'll be a 6-3. And then Clarence Thomas will probably put in his letter of resignation with a coupon to Chili's or something, or whatever he's going to get from his donors, and then drive off in his little Winnebago RV that he got from another donor, because he's a corrupt piece of shit.
I mean,
but I think that like the what I'm saying is like the concern is valid.
But I think the concern's too late. Like the concern should have been the Obama period. Like that was the real
I meant about
concern.
Trump as general, not just Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Though the Democrats
we're at a point
were
now.
way slow on the Supreme Court, man. They should have been like fucking Heritage Foundation was, and doing this in the 90s.
Multiple things should have happened. Obviously, they should have been able to push through the nominees that
fucking
they wanted,
Merrick Garland shouldn't be the AG.
I guess during that time period. I know, that's what I'm saying. Like these basic things did not get done under a. I digress. Anyway, I still always worry about the under ticket
down
a
ballot.
lot. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's actually.
Even if he loses.
I think, regardless of if he wins or loses, the down ballot races are arguably more important to people's daily lives, and so
that's what I mean.
It's a great point
yeah.
of where Democrats have fucked up over the years. Is like we have been super fixated on the presidency, and I say we as in the Democrats, not us, but
the Democratic Party.
Like that's great. We've won the popular vote every time, with the exception of 2004, since like the Reagan years or whatever. But you look at state governments. I mean, I know this is sort of on a tangent, but it's relevant to all this discussion. I'll share a situation. Florida's abortion laws are insane, and Kristen and I want to have kids. She is like, she's in her like mid-30s. That's considered an at-risk age for having children, and that terrifies me. Like when we start to like try to have children, we have to legitimately ask ourselves: is it safe to try to have this birth in the state where we live, or do we need to go to somewhere like New York or California or I don't know, Minnesota or wherever the fuck?
That's
and my
fair,
sister and her husband have had conversations about their daughter, because they live in West Virginia, about like, is it like when comes the time that they need to move to a place that's like more like that women have more rights, basically, and that's where like state government is everything for that. I mean, in Florida, Ron DeSantis, like he barely won his first election. Barely. We're talking.
True.
That was one of the
That's
closest races in the entire goddamn country.
Very
and
true.
to look at a world in Florida where it was Andrew Gillum, which little dicey there, but
golly, dude,
he did not have the best glow up after that campaign. But
whoo, that went bad, dude.
looking at it, Florida with generic Democrat versus Ron DeSantis, huge difference. Looking at West Virginia with I don't know, like a generic conservative Democrat governor versus Jim Justice. You might, I mean, there's a chance that you'd get someone that wouldn't sign an abortion ban. I don't know. West Virginia might be a lost cause with that respect. But you get what I'm saying. So I agree. I think that the concern has to be across the board, and I think that there are a lot of people that are concerned about that. But I don't know, shit's just bleak, man. And I think like
I get it.
I think that we have to be focused on every single race. That Trump is an existential threat, but I think like so are a lot of these gubernatorial and congressional candidates and state legislative candidates. But not everything is bleak. I'll say that.
True.
I don't think that the presidential election is lost. I know that you and I disagree a little bit on that. I think that we have to look at it as an opportunity to still be able to beat Donald Trump. I don't think that we can throw in our towel and admit defeat right now. Like Democrats, but just people, not just Democrats, but people. And I know that it's difficult when you have like this fucking, politically speaking, a very, God, I hate saying this. It's reality though. So politically, this will only help Trump. Let me just say it like that. Politically, this will only help him. At least at this point.
I don't see why. I don't see how it could hurt him.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, so it makes things more difficult. But I don't want people to like lose hope and give up. Is what I'm saying, and that is all.
No, I mean, I get it, and who knows? There could be some like huge thing that happens where it shifts it, but what 6 races before all this happened? 6 races either moved from lean R to strong R, or toss up to lean R, right? I mean, we had a bunch of movement before this. I can only imagine a new poll's going to show even more.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's the after. It's the after. It's not even the fact that the event happened. It's like I'm telling you. Well, again, this is my opinion. The reaction of Donald Trump was perfect. Like I don't know if there's a better reaction he could have had.
I don't think there's a better reaction he could have had. My concern is how his most diehard supporters are going to react in the coming days and weeks and months. That's what's I think really scary is people are going to like his people are going to look at this as an attack not just on him but on them, and there is going to be a lot of reactionary rhetoric. There already is, but I'm just worried about some of the more unhinged people that support him and how like they're going to respond to this. I think that's really concerning. And I mean, we just have to put it in the context. Like was an attempted assassination on a former president. That's a very big deal. And it may not feel like it at the moment. Again, I said earlier, like it didn't really hit me at the time, but that's a big deal. And the reason why it's a big deal is it has broad-reaching ripple effect and broad-reaching implications. It's not like a typical shooting.
No, I mean, in two things before we wrap this this section up. One of them is, imagine if he was still the president, how the reaction would have been. In terms of, this would have been looked at as almost like an attack on the country.
I'm sure it would have. I think arguably it could have been seen, like regardless of who was in office. I think it would have. I think it could be viewed like that. Yeah.
And then, secondly, I just can't. I mean, now that we've had a little time to like digest it, like I just can't I cannot fathom hating someone enough over political rhetoric to pull out a gun and shoot them. Like I just can't. Like I can't get there. It's not justifiable in my eyes. It's, again, I'm one of those guys that's like, obviously, I do criminal law, so I would have rather seen. I know why they had to do what they did, but I would have rather seen him go through the steps so that one could have learned more, and two, he could have been sentenced accordingly. Obviously he got killed, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's one of those things like it's not justifiable, and I just can't get behind it, man.
Well, hot take, John is anti-assassination. There you go, folks.
Dude, I mean, if you were wondering, that's me. I'm just not for it.
It took us 52 minutes to get there. We made it, man. That's right.
Yeah, I want everybody to know
this is we are anti-assassination. This is not pro-assassination. I'm sorry, guys, if you're disappointed by that.
Everybody's leaving.
Yeah, I know. They're like, well, there you go. Please don't. But join us on our. You can join our Discord. You can join our Patreon. Patreon.com/appodlatcha, where you'll get access to a bunch of bonuses, including exclusive segments like the one that we're about to record